Good afternoon everyone, and this is our final council meeting for Snowy Valleys Council for 2022, and a little bit of change up today. Trina Thomson as Deputy Mayor and
Brent Livermore filling in. Well, the Mayor's had to go away to another meeting, so
we're very versatile.
I'll try and look a bit older to fill in for him.
You know, it has been a busy year, and today was the last council meeting, so Brent, you might like to just talk about the notice of motion that yourself and Councillor Ham put up in relation to the power lines.
Yeah, we put up a notice of motion which was carried by our fellow councillors. It's in relation to the clearing within the National Park for the running the power lines from the Snowy 2.0 site at Lobbs Hole through to the New Maragal switch yard. We've got some concerns about the amount of clearing that's involved in this and the probably turnaround at government level and by allowing such clearing through the national parks. I think it's the first significant clearing for something like 50 years that's been allowed. So we'd like some explanations about that, and we'd like it to get through to the people in the city that they're well aware of the costs that are going to be encountered for them to get their power supplies.
I think one of the interesting points too is that when you talk about renewable energies, and a lot of people in the city would have very, very little understanding of what's required to get the renewable energy, such as hydro, from areas in the Snowy Mountains all the way to Sydney, and it's going to have a significant impact on some of the most beautiful areas in our region, as well as many of our local residents and farmers. And so it's incredibly important that people do understand the magnitude of the infrastructure required to get the renewable energy to those outer areas.
Yep, that's right. Everyone wants cheap power, but I don't know how cheap it's going to be, but there's going to be a big cost in getting it through to the city.
Especially for us for tourism around here, and the other point that we have raised previously is that for some of the landowners around here, there comes a point where they need to decide whether they're going to be food and fibre producers or whether it's going to be about energy production. And, you know, having been through the floods and also with the pandemic, we understand how important it is for us to be producing locally what we need and not be reliant on other countries to deliver us.
Absolutely.
Anyway. Now, Mayor Chaffey, even though he's not here, I'm sure he'll talk later, there was a mayoral minute in today's business, and basically it was to just acknowledge that we've had a pretty busy year, a hectic year, full of a few ups and a few downs and a few in-betweens, but also to acknowledge and thank the staff that have stepped up and really got us to this point, particularly the ones who have stepped into interim roles and kept the place going and actually given us an opportunity to look forward.
Yep, that's right. Some of our interim staff, and for certainly one of those, Julie Vaughan, today is the last day.
And then we've got Daryl Hager. I think he's got about a week.
Is staying on for another week to sort of give a bit of mentoring to the new finance officer. But they've done a splendid job in the short time they've been with us, and so there was certainly appreciation expressed to them today by all the councillors as well as the Mayor.
It was, and they really have brought so much to the organisation, and I know that the staff here have also appreciated it. So, the ARIC committee.
Yeah, we had the...
we better tell them what the ARIC committee is.
Well, the ARIC committee... one of those acronyms, Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee, which councils are required to have.
That's right.
We had today the presentation of the annual report from that committee by the independent chair, Mr Stephen Walker, who's based here in Tumut. So he gave a rundown to the councillors on the role of the ARIC committee and the types of issues they're looking at. Also a little bit of a precursor for the coming year, that a couple of the internal audit programs that'll be on. One will be on asset management, and so that'll delve into all aspects of asset management planning, funding and so on, and the sort of expenditure that's on being provided to the maintenance of assets. Also, the second audit for the coming year will be on management finances, management accounting and so on. So
It was an excellent report, and
yeah.
I think it was really good for all of the councillors to actually have the opportunity to hear from Steve himself, not just read the report, but to ask questions and be fully informed. And again, there's that opportunity, because the meeting is live streamed, people can now go back in and they can actually watch that themselves if they're interested in that part of it.
Yeah, by all means.
It is. Now, the meeting calendar also, we've set for 2023 the meeting calendars, and I think it's really important to note that this year all we've really done is to identify the date and also the time, because we've decided that in 2023 we'd really love the opportunity to be able to take some of our council meetings to other areas and other communities, so that we are part of communities and people don't see us as something that's removed from where they live, or that everything happens in one place. So watch this space. There will be plenty of notice as to where the meetings will be held and how they're going to be conducted, but we really want to be a part of the community, and we really want the community to work with us. This is your community, it's not just ours.
Absolutely, yeah, we need to get out there. I mean, council's only part of the community really. We belong to the entire community, so yeah, it'll be great to get around to some of those other centres.
Now, you've been a busy person, Brent. I've noticed that within our in business paper today, we also had the Toomer Recreation Reserve AGM.
Yeah, that was a little while ago, the Toomer Rec Reserve annual general meeting. And one of the big projects there is the committee there got funding to do some pretty major upgrades for the Toomer Hall. So that'll include some refurbishment as well as some additional building work there. And talking to one of the people from the Hall Committee on Wednesday night, I think in Cancobe, and they're indicating that they've got a meeting there tomorrow, actually Friday, with the architect. So things are moving along well there, and that'll be great to see the outcome of those designs and so on.
The Toomer Rec Reserve is actually one of the few 355 committees of council, so
yeah,
it's closely associated. The Tumut Aerodrome and the RFS, the negotiations to actually develop a facility out there are ongoing, and there was some quite robust discussion today in relation to what's going out there and how we actually progress that to ensure that our community can be safe going into the future, not only in relation to one of our greatest resources in this area, which is timber, but also financially. We need to understand all of the implications, and the community also needs to be aware of all of that, Brent.
Yep, absolutely. The resolution today basically was giving the General Manager delegations to proceed with negotiations with the Rural Fire Service and also State Forests, who are one of the stakeholders in it out there now. So yeah, there's still a bit of work to be done there, but at least those negotiations now can get underway, and I'm sure it wouldn't be too far away from getting a bit of a, if you like, a more defined roadmap as to how it can proceed.
I think people should see this as a positive, not a negative. You know, we want to make and we want to work with the community to ensure that we are safe going into the future. But we've been through a pretty tough year financially. We're starting to discover that it's looking like the special rate variation is also going to have to be implemented next year, and we still have a lot of savings we need to make. So it's irresponsible if council isn't fully aware of all of the costs and all of the effort that's going to be required to work with this and to negotiate so that everybody wins. It needs to be a win-win-win. Nobody should be left out in the cold in this one.
No, that's absolutely right. So, and council's got to be aware of all those things, but also the community need to be aware of all the details around it as well.
Probably before we wrap up, just talking about Australia Day 2023, please make sure that you participate in your local events. You know, this is whether you agree with the date or whether you don't agree with the date, I think one of the things that we can all agree on is we live in one of the most incredible countries in the entire world. We do have the longest continuous living culture with our First Nations people. And for me personally, I acknowledge their culture and their heritage and their tradition on the day and include and consider how they would be feeling. But I still love to be Australian, and I'm so incredibly proud to be linked to our First Nations people through some of the things that we can actually get in together and support.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's particularly a day we should be sort of very mindful of how fortunate we are to live where we do live.
That's right.
If you look what's happening around the world, it's unbelievable, and it's hard to comprehend what people in some countries would be going through when we look at the people in the Ukraine and that at the moment. So I think we should be really mindful that we are blessed living in this country.
Show some gratitude would be a lovely way. And I think this year there's in excess of 30 people who are actually going to declare or become citizens of Australia, and that's a phenomenal number of people who want to be another thread in this amazing rope of the culture that we share.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that, that's probably a wrap for 2022 to start with. It's been a phenomenally busy year for some of us, and lots of travel. I don't know, you probably know the road inside out, back to front and upside down, and even sideways at one stage.
Yes, but we won't talk about that.
We won't dob the mayor into that one in his
anyway,
own vehicle.
I noticed there were workers on that particular bend today, so things could improve.
Yeah. And I'm sure that if the mayor was standing here, he would like to say, wishing everybody a very, very safe, happy, and for those who celebrate the meaning of Christmas, a very holy Christmas to go with it. But more importantly, please make sure that you drive safely. To any of the visitors into our region or anybody leaving our region to go and visit family, please travel safely. Please be mindful of other people. And as my mother always used to say, it's not even how you drive, you just can never, ever understand how other drivers might respond. So please keep safe. Please work with us in 2023. You know, Snowy Valleys Council is a great community, and it's a great area to work, live and play, and we couldn't be happier than being a part of it, could we? No,
it's certainly a great part of the world. So, yeah, but anyway, have a good Christmas and a prosperous New Year, and I know we're going to have another very busy New Year, so
we are.
We'll be back.
So happy holidays, everyone.